Tony Sorge, the head coach of the Beaver Local girls basketball team. Coach, thank you so much for taking the time to join us today.
Thank you for having me.
Coach, of course, we always like to start with our Meet the Team segment. And of course, we know volleyball is usually one that holds some girls up. So it's soccer season. So now that you kind of got an idea a little bit more of what team you're going to be having, shout out some of those big name players that you expect to be huge roles for this team and some of those younger players that you think might have a big impact later on in the season.
Well, this year we're returning, as of right now, we're returning 4 starters from last year. I have junior Jordan Palmer, who returns, who's I think going to do a lot of good things for us. She performed very well last year, and we're expecting some big things from her this year. We also have Hallie Jordan, who's a returning starter. She's a senior this year. She provides a lot, good high basketball IQ, and we rely on her a lot as well. We have another senior that's returning as a starter, and that's Olivia Keller. She played well for us last year, very good shooter from the perimeter. And then the sophomore Peyton Roberts, and she was put into a starting role early in the season last year and did very well. She's really grown over the last year, and we expect some big things from her as well.
Coach, you play in a very tough conference that is, widely known, really respect for girls basketball over there. Talk about it. What are some of the teams that you expect to really be competing for the top spot, and maybe some of the biggest challenges you'll face throughout your conference schedule?
It's a very good conference. We're looking to compete much better this year than we did last year. And in our division in the Buckeye 8, we have East Liverpool, who's a big rivalry for us. We also have Harrison Central, Edison, and Indian Creek. And Indian Creek was very, very good team last year. I know they are losing some players. They had a very good senior group and a couple 1,000-point scores, but they were very tough in the league last year. But we expect it to be very competitive again this year with those teams in our division. And like I said, East Liverpool and Edison, and the season we had last year, we had a little bit of a difficult time with these teams, but we expect it to be much different this year, but still being very competitive.
Talking about that, though, Coach, I mean, what are the biggest areas of growth that you've seen with the team over the course of the summer, too? As we know, sophomore to junior year is typically a huge area of growth. So is junior to senior year.
Yeah, well, we had a very good off season. Really started in the summer. We have a lot of girls, of course, just like many other teams out there. We have a lot of girls that play softball, soccer, volleyball. So, we're sharing them with those sports. And we got started in the summer. Many of our girls play softball, so we couldn't do a whole lot in the spring. But we, one thing we focused on, we did a lot of skill development, trying to build on our ball handling and shooting. But another area where we've worked on is being more physical and being able to play faster.
Coach, when you look at some of the non-conference teams that you're going to be able to play this year and the teams that are really going to prepare you for your tournament run, what games are you kind of really getting up for, and how's your non-conference schedule look with the tough conference you're already playing?
Well, we open up the season here in just under 2 weeks. It's coming fast. We open up the season with Crestview. Crestview's a very good team. They have a very good program. Coach Blatch does a great job out there. We played them last year a couple times. We're looking forward to that matchup to start the season. But we know they're going to be ready to play, and that's going to be a competitive game. We also added East Palestine and Lisbon this year to the schedule as non-conference games. We play Girard also this year, and Steubenville. And I know Steubenville's going to be tough. We played them last year, and last year I know they had some size and speed. So there's going to be a competitive non-conference schedule. United as well. We played them at the end of the season. I know they were young last year, as were we. We played them once last year, and we're looking forward to that matchup again this year. So, we do have a tough non-conference schedule as well this year.
Now that the team as a whole is a lot more experienced, does the offensive playbook open up a little bit more? Are you able to do a little bit more with offense now, or possibly defense, and maybe running more sets? Or is this offense going to look much of the same like we saw last year, just with a little bit of tweaks?
We're definitely able to add more this year to our playbook. Last year, we were very young and inexperienced. We had 3 players with varsity experience last year, and our bench basically was with a few sophomores and then mainly freshmen. So our rotation was with some very young, inexperienced players. So we were limited last year in what we could run offensively and defensively. But this year, with the amount of experience that we got last year, we're able to open it up more. So we do look to do some different things this year, mainly defensively and as far as our presses. But we are opening up the playbook and putting quite a few things in there that we didn't have last year.
Coach, we know all too well how strong this Beaver Local community is as far as how much they support their sports programs. Talk about what it's going to be like to finally get the full capacity crowds into the gym and be able to feed off the energy of this community that supports you guys so well.
That's definitely going to be huge. Last year, of course, everyone was in that same position, but last year it was a lot different to play with limited capacity. This year, we're definitely looking forward to having a lot of fans, and especially student section. We have a great student section at Beaver Local that really have supported all the fall sports, and we're looking forward to having that support this year for our games. And I think it's going to make a big difference for our players to have that kind of support, getting them up and fired up for the games. And it's definitely something we're looking forward to.
And talking about that too, we know how big of an impact coaches have on the lives of these young athletes. What is something outside of the sport of basketball that you really try to instill in your girls and teach them throughout their high school career?
Well, we do spend a lot of time with these players, not just during the season, but in the off season. So, we really try to have a good relationship with these players, get to know them personally, and help build values that they can carry forward, after high school, because, they have their whole lives ahead of them, and we know we can have an impact on them. So we try to be positive with them and teach them the values of respect and hard work, and hope that they can learn values from us other than what we teach them in basketball.
Coach, we've had the chance to meet your team and some of the players that you think will be contributors to the season. I want to take a chance to give you the opportunity to highlight your staff and the people that work with you and the people that really make this program what it is.
We have a very good staff. I have Bob Thies as my varsity assistant. He coached with me last year as my assistant. He has probably close to 30 years experience coaching basketball and volleyball. So he's been around the sport for a long time. And he has a lot of experience with the girls basketball. So he brings a wealth of knowledge with him, and the ability to build relationships with the girls is something that's important, and that he brings to the team as well. And then Brad Starkey is our JV coach this year, first year JV coach, and he's doing a great job for us. And we see eye to eye on a lot of things, share the same philosophy. So I think that's going to work out really well. And then, I have a great staff with our junior high coaches and our youth coaches as well. I think it's very important to have those types of coaches that I can trust and that I know have the ability to teach these young athletes to help prepare them for when they move up to the high school level.
Coach, looking at your team, I think there's a lot to be excited about this year, and I know the Beaver Local community is going to support wholeheartedly. But if there's anybody on the fence about coming out to some games this year, what's the sales pitch you'd give them to come out and watch this girls' team this year?
Well, we're definitely looking forward to starting this season. We had a tough season last year for many reasons, and COVID everyone dealt with that last year. So that was just one thing we went through that we had to deal with, that for the reason that we had the season we did. But we had a tough season to start last year, being young and inexperienced, but we bring back a lot of experience this year. And to take a positive from last season, we were able to get a lot of players some good varsity experience. So, most of our JV team, which was made up mostly of freshmen and a few sophomores, we were able to rotate them in throughout the season into varsity games and get them all some very valuable experience. It was paying off last year. During the JV games, we can see a noticeable difference in how they played. And, we bring back, I think it's 9 lettermen, which is huge. So we bring back a lot of experience. That's going to help us a lot this year. They're familiar with the system now and what we expect. And, we're going to build upon what we started last year into this season. We plan to be more physical, play at a higher level and play a lot faster this year on both ends of the court. So we're excited for what this season holds, and I think a lot of fans are going to be excited to see how we play.
Coach, thank you so much for taking the time to join us today and helping us kind of preview the girls' basketball season in Beaver Local. We look forward to covering you guys all season, and we'll definitely talk to you again soon as the season goes on.
Yep, looking forward to it. Thanks for having me.